Hello and welcome to the Sold Out podcast. I'm your host, Cailean Coffey, digital editor of soldoutmagazine.com. And with me today, we have graphic designer and digital artist, Aaron Fahey. Aaron, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm grand. How's your day going?
It's good. I got up pretty late. I've had 2 coffees and I'm ready to go, basically.
Fantastic. How have you been finding quarantine? Has it been an inspiring time or has it been kind of difficult to sit down and work?
It's been a mixture. It's funny. I've kind of been busier than ever, really. Like when the quarantine started, all the commissions started to flood in, and I've had to turn away some people, which is something I'm not 100% used to. But it's quite encouraging. I've kind of used it as a time to reinvent myself. I don't want to sound all kind of profound and stuff. But for the past 30 to kind of 40 days, I've been following an exercise program. I've been doing a lot of meditation. I recently went vegetarian as well. No, I'm okay. Sorry. Yeah, I've just been really keeping myself busy doing design. I've been dabbling in a lot of kind of animation work as well, trying to teach myself new things and trying to teach other people things as well, Yeah.
So when trying not to work, you've been kind of trying to focus on yourself. Mindfulness is a big thing.
100%. Yeah.
How have you been finding meditating? I tried it once and I can't say it went well.
I find it, I do it mostly at night. I'd say an hour before I go to bed. I have an app, do you know Headspace?
Yeah.
Basically, I just pick a random meditation on the app and do it for, say, half an hour or so. They have a lot of ones where they just talk you through kind of different, say, breathing exercises. And it's just a nice way to wrap up the day, really, and kind of, because if I don't know about you, but if I'm designing, I like to design kind of late in the day. I feel like I'm more kind of switched on, and staring at a screen and then going to bed, it would affect my sleep a lot. Just taking a break for, say, 20 to 30 minutes to just kind of zone out. It's made a huge difference, I find, definitely.
And when you're creating a piece of art, be it Childish Gambino art or Frank Ocean or Lil Nas X or whatever, would you have to be listening to that artist's music at the time, or could you listen to anything?
It depends. I find that different music kind of affects how I make something. So, in the past kind of year to 2 years, I've really gotten into aggressive kind of rap, let's say JPEG Mafia and stuff. And I find once I listen to that kind of stuff, I can just go in with design. I can just I could stay focused and just lash out a design. But listen to something say, I don't know, Radiohead or something like that. I could make some kind of weird stuff. I find it definitely affects my design. But say, as you said, with Childish Gambino and Frank Ocean, I do prefer to listen to the artist when making a piece because I feel kind of I'm getting more in touch with the artist, if that makes sense. But yeah, and in case I miss out on any kind of details, there might be something in there that I could add in,
And has there ever been a time where you've tried to create with a certain piece of music on and you found it just hadn't worked, that maybe you've found yourself listening to the lyrics too much and you aren't focused on what you're doing? Or
yeah, do you know what, that actually happens a good bit. If I listen to what kind of music, the likes of I kind of started listening to people like 100 Gex and Caro Benito and stuff. It's real kind of wacky stuff, but I really like it, but just not when I'm designing, because I find I can just go down a loophole and I get distracted because their music is just so crazy and kind of outlandish, I prefer to listen to music as well with less lyrics when I'm designing, because again, I can get a bit distracted, But again, it really all depends on my mood, how I'm feeling. like, say if I listened to Blonde when I was designing a piece, like you could end up having like a breakdown halfway through, being like, oh, you know, it's but yeah, like it definitely does affect the way I make stuff, you know.
So let's take a little bit back. It's
Okay.
Looking at your Instagram, it's difficult to differentiate between where your passion for music begins and your passion for graphic design begins, you know?
Yeah.
So for you, when did that kind of passion for music and that love for music kind of begin?
I think music has like always been a part of my life. And I have my parents to thank for that, really. My dad would have been a big, say, like Stone Roses fan and stuff. He liked a lot of English music, and my mum would have been like a lot of Fleetwood Mac. So that would have always been playing in the house growing up. And then as I'd say it was about third or fourth year in secondary school, we got like a load of downloaded music on our laptop from a friend. It was all it was all like illegal music, you know. And basically none of it had artworks, or none of them had proper names and stuff. So I kind of decided to try and make some of my own. And then that kind of introduced me to a lot of new music as well. Like I remember one time in particular, I had never heard Song 2 by Blur. And like there's a few songs in the iTunes library. There's like track 8, track 9, and then there's this one called Song 2. And I didn't realize until years later that the song was actually called Song 2. I thought it was just the illegal track name on our PC. But like the passion for that has always been there. And I think creating my own artwork for these kind of things really sparked the passion for both of them. And it's still been the same to this day, really.
Oh, fantastic. And what was your first Rebellion album? I mean, everyone has an album that when they bought it, they didn't want their parents to hear it. For some people, it was American Idiot.
I think Riot by Paramore for me.
Okay. What's stuck out about that?
I think it's because it's at the time it wasn't music that I necessarily listened to. I would have listened to the radio kind of religiously. I would have been a top 40 fan, you know, like whatever's in the charts is good. But like that has changed so drastically in recent years. Yeah, I think Riot was just my kind of first Rebellion album. It was just kind of raw, and looking back at it now, it's not like a really raw album, but I could feel my angst, like, you know. But yeah, no, I love that album a lot.
And how did it kind of go from Paramore to hip hop?
So in terms of hip hop, basically, I fell in love with hip hop kind of late. So when I started college in, oh God, what year was that? I couldn't even tell you when I started college. Jesus. 2014? No. Oh my God. How long am I out of college now? No, I graduated in 2017. Yeah, so like 14 I would have started college. And when I was at my first college party, someone played Freaks and Geeks by Childish Gambino. And I'd never heard this before. And everyone knew the words for some reason. I just thought that was weird. But like literally from that day on, I fell in love with, say, like hip hop music and Childish Gambino as well. That kind of sparked my passion for rap.
Oh, absolutely. And around this time, I mean, what did you'd say the kind of influx of the music was like when 2012, 2013, when you started designing your own stuff, or was it a little later than that?
Say that again?
When you started, as you said, you kind of got this dump of music onto your computer.
Oh, yeah.
And you started designing your own stuff. Would you say that's 2012, 2013?
That would have been kind of roughly, 2012, 2013.
And so from there, within 5 years, you were on Complex. I mean, how did
Yeah.
how did you? I mean, in March of 2017. I mean, yeah, Childish Gambino posted.
Yeah, so that's a really long story, but basically, that's when I kind of properly started using Photoshop. So like when I started college, I did multimedia in CIT, and I had it in my mind that it would be kind of like all Photoshop and every kind of thing. But we only did 1 year of Photoshop. So like I progressed from GIMP to Photoshop and basically self-taught myself through like YouTube tutorials and stuff. And I wanted to kind of get into doing a lot of hip hop kind of things because it was my passion at the time. So I made this Childish Gambino design in, was it 2017? And basically I just mashed up a load of album covers and a few press photos and stuff, posted it on Twitter, thought it would do nothing, basically, got a few likes here and there, posted on Reddit the same, got a few likes here and there. And then I was at the cinema one night, had my phone switched off, the movie was over, turned on the phone, and I had just like a stupid amount of notifications. I didn't know what was happening. So I'm looking at my phone and I see people saying, "Oh, you're on Complex, you're on Complex." And I'm shouting at my dad who's driving me home, like, "I'm on Complex." He's like, "What's Complex?" But basically what happened was they posted my Childish Gambino design. They didn't know who the original artist was, so there was no credit on it at the time. And for some reason, there's like this filter over it as well. It looks slightly different to the one that I made, basically. It's like they added an Instagram filter. But anyway, there's no credit, and there's people in the comments trying to claim the credit for it. And I was kind of like, oh my God. And at the time, I didn't actually have the RNF design page established. My RNF design page at the time was a page called, oh God, I think it was just a throwaway. I think it was like AF Photos or something. So my friend Robin in college, she sent me a message on Facebook saying, "Look, you're after being posted on Complex. You have to get credit somehow." So she emailed, I think it was like some person at Complex or press manager or something, to try and get the credit. Got it sorted. Changed my name on Instagram to RNF Design that day. And basically it kind of just took off from there. Took down all my old posts. I didn't even know you could archive posts at the time. Just deleted them all. Yeah. And that's kind of where it all started. That's where I like to kind of say RNF Design was created that day.
And what was your kind of inspiration? Who were your inspirations for that type of artwork?
There is a guy called, I'll just make sure I don't butcher his name. Brandon Bro is his name. Brandon Breaux. Brandon Bro, or I don't know how to pronounce his name. But I've been following him since I kind of got into rap music. One of the first mixtapes I heard was Acid Rap by Chance the Rapper. And I thought the artwork was really cool and I wanted to know who made it. So I found the guy, Brendan Bro. And I just thought it was so cool that someone could make a career from designing album covers, especially for rappers as well. And I ended up actually doing one of my final year pieces on Brandon Bro and messaged him, got a few questions and answers. And like I was starstruck at the time. And I was just amazed at how powerful the internet is, like how I could just message someone in Chicago and he could help me with my final year project. It was mad.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And how did it kind of go from there? I mean, the next piece is kind of just 2 Paramore pieces after that, and it kind of takes a while to get into fully hip hop.
I must actually just have a quick browse back
time.
because it's been so long since I've delved back.
It takes a while to swipe in, let me tell you that much.
Yeah, I've kind of really experimented with some different styles down through the years.
Can we talk about one style in particular, if you don't mind?
Go for it. Yeah,
it's the pages where you rip out the pages of different pieces. That's personally
Yeah.
my favorite type, apart from, as we've spoken about before.
A lot of people have told me that as well, that they like that one the most.
And had you seen that elsewhere?
So basically, these all started when I started experimenting with textures. Like if you look at some of my old pieces, there's some of them that have like paper overlays and they're very heavy and stuff. Looking back on it, I hate it now, but back then I just thought it was really cool. But how I started experimenting with that was I had seen, like, there's these kind of tropes in like the design community where there was a stage when everyone was using like vinyl overlays on their things, and then there was people using like kind of roughened stickers and stuff, and it's kind of a thing it's not frowned upon nowadays, but it's like almost a meme where people say, oh, you use a record overlay. Like you can even, I don't know if you can see this here with like one of the Paramore ones. I have like a worn vinyl overlay and stuff like that. But from there, I tried using different textures, and I found like ripped pages. I thought it'd be cool to make it look like the design has been ripped. But then I decided to just take it one step further and actually make them on paper. So what I do is I just open an A4 document on Photoshop, add in a few pictures, like say, for example, I have one of Tyler, the Creator, I did in 2018. So I just got a gradient, got a picture of Tyler, a few bees, sunflowers, and I printed them off, ripped them up, stuck them together and scanned it. And that's basically where all that kind of ripped paper kind of stuff started. At the time, I didn't see anyone else doing it. Like the way I looked at it was collaging basically in a physical form. But everyone, like I have DMs set up on my Instagram, and I get like DM requests, say for like commissions and stuff. But I get a lot of people saying, oh, can you send me the digital assets for your ripped designs? I really want to experiment with them. But a lot of people don't realize that they're made physically.
They're physically made,
yeah. So like I literally have a shoebox in the corner of my room, like that's just stacked with all those designs, basically.
Yeah. And what percentage of the designs that you kind of try would work? I mean, I'm sure there's designs that you've tried that you haven't.
I'd say it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. Like I actually, with the ripped designs, I actually started them in the start of 2018. I started doing the ripped designs, did a few, forgot about it. And then only about, I'd say, not even a year ago, I started doing them again. And then they really took off. Like I used to have a style where I put like a rapper or an artist kind of surrounded by clouds and lights and stuff like that. And I kind of go in phases with the designs, you know. I just feel like some of my ones are kind of outdated now. But again, it's either like a 50-50 or a 60-40 things work. Like I've scrapped a lot of kind of concepts, and I have a lot of archive posts on my page. Like there'll be times when I post something and I take it down straight away because I'm like, no, I don't need to post this. I don't like the way it looks. But then there's ones that I don't think much of that do really well. It's all like a learning process, and like personal kind of preference goes out the window because some people might like something that you don't like, and it's I don't know. It's all a learning kind of process, you know.
And what piece for you has been the biggest surprise? I mean, a piece that you may not have thought would do well has done really well, or apart from the likes of the Lil Nas X piece.
I think the kind of pieces I've started doing recently with that I'm kind of calling like the blueprint designs, basically where I've gone back to kind of just really simple design where I get like an image, split it up into like squares and add almost like blueprint designs in the background. I'm really surprised at how well that's done. They've probably, like in terms of insights and stuff on my page, they've really kind of boosted me up a lot. And I really enjoy doing those ones as well, because I've kind of gone into a style that I like now that's simplistic, and I'm getting commissioned to do those kind of style ones as well, which is nice, you know.
Absolutely. And you started posting, as we said, with the complex thing. You've been posting before, of course, but how much has Instagram changed for the creator and for the designer since, say, 2014 or 2015, or when you started?
I think it's changed a lot, really. When I started off, I just had a standard Instagram account, and I tried for a while to do, like, you see on some people's pages, they have like the seamless like pages, if that makes sense. So like you have like three panels, and it would all flow into this cool design and stuff like that. I've kind of just dropped that, and I just post whatever I kind of feel like posting now. But in terms of like for the creator, it's changed a lot, because like I converted my account to a creator account. So that means I can add business partners, and I can do promotions and all these kind of hosts of different things. I can have message requests and filter messages and all that kind of crack. But I find it's changed for the better, definitely, because it definitely feels more business orientated. And as well, you can have, I don't know if you know, you definitely do know, I'd say though, like on an Instagram profile, you can have like these little tiles like under your the dots. I find them super handy just for kind of showing, like quickly featuring kind of artwork you've done and stuff like that. I
think they're called memories. I think
they probably are called memories. Yeah, they are. But yeah, no, I like, it's definitely changed for the better. Like even with the likes and stuff like that. I know in, I don't know, the UK or America or something, like some people can still see likes, but like when I'm on my home page, like I there's just a post there. I can't see how many people have liked it, but I think it makes for a more healthier kind of feed, if that makes sense, because I felt like when everyone could see the likes on posts and stuff, it just became kind of competitive almost. Like people were competing against each other to get more likes and stuff.
Now it's more of a community.
It's more of a community, and it's a brilliant community as well. Everyone is so interconnected, like, and people really do have each other's backs and stuff, you know, which is amazing. Like it's weird to think that there's this like online family almost, you know, where you can kind of share ideas and stuff like that. It's cool.
And how did it go from there to working with the likes of Orla Gartland, Happy Alone, Alex Goff and their own work?
So that all started in, I think it was 2018 on Paddy's Day. I made like this collage with all my favorite Irish artists at the time. I put them into like this big, huge, at the time it was a big, huge picture, but the resolution was fairly low because I didn't know how to save things very well. But I posted out on Instagram, thought nothing of it, got a few likes from, I think it got like by whatever Lingo and stuff like that. And then later on that day, I was at work and I got a message from Orla Gartland. And I was like, to say I was starstruck was like an understatement. I was such a big fan and had been since like secondary school. And she messaged me saying, could she post it on her page? And I was like, oh my God, yes, no problem at all. And she said she'd definitely like to work together sometime on something. So I was like panicking at my desk at work. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then later on that day, the Coronas posted it on their Facebook and stuff like that, which was just mental. And then kind of, we'll say, I quit my job in Cork, came back home, and then about a year later, Orla messaged me, asking did I want to work on one of her music videos for like, I think it was her acoustic version of I Go Crazy. And she really liked that rip paper style and asked would I be able to make an animation from it. And I'd never done something like that in my life, but I said I'd do it because I wasn't turning down this opportunity. And from there, it kind of really took off. Like, I kind of have to credit her for a lot of, like, I wouldn't even say success, like, but a lot of my exposure, let's say. And she's brilliant to work with. I've done multiple projects with her now. And that's kind of led me on to being introduced to the likes of Alex Goff, absolute legend. Just finished working on a project with him that'll be released soon. But yeah, like, I really enjoy working with the likes of kind of Irish creatives and artists and stuff. It's something it seems to be really taking off in Ireland. Like, the creative community is unbelievable. There just doesn't seem to be a crazy amount of support for it. But going forward, like, I have every hope and no doubt that, like, it will thrive. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you've noticed it yourself. Like, there doesn't seem to be a crazy amount of support for the creative community in Ireland. Like, I feel like there could be a lot more, and there's some incredible people out there that I'd say one day will do some greatness. Like, you know.
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of creatives, you have your own podcast, the Creative Pal podcast.
Yeah.
You've only done one episode so far, but you promised to do more. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind
that. Again, that kind of goes back to what I was just saying, like, about the support for creatives. Like, I by no means have a huge audience or anything, like, but I kind of wanted to start a podcast to chat to other creatives and just talk about what they do, have a chat about, like, say, the creative industry, how they find it, talk about things like, say, pricing. Like, pricing is something like creatives really struggle with, like, in terms of what to charge for a job, or like, I still even struggle with that to this day, you know. But yeah, like, I did one episode with my friend from college. We talked about college, talked about what he does. It was kind of as well, like, a personal challenge as well, because I don't normally do these kind of things, like, you know, like podcasts, or I don't record a lot of videos, or I like to kind of be behind all the stuff, you know, behind the scenes. But I really want to push myself to kind of be more out there and just more. It's like a self-confidence thing, you know, just to kind of get out there and have fun as well.
What's the biggest problem facing designers in 2020? Is it pricing? Is it kind of your work not being credited on major platforms? What would you say?
There's a few things. So work not being credited on major platforms is a huge thing. It's something that I see every day on, like, mostly on Twitter. Like, I know one guy, I can't think of his ad at the moment, but Lil Uzi Vert posted one of his designs as his profile picture, no credit or anything like that. And then everyone thought that was going to be the album cover, and your man got no exposure for it. Like, it's just something I see every day, and it's kind of annoying, but I suppose I have to look at it from another perspective, in terms of the person who's reposting it might have found it just randomly, say, on, like, Pinterest or stuff like that, because that's what happens a lot of the time. Things get lost in the internet, and credits kind of get lost as well. I suppose another problem is pricing. Like, I get a lot of requests saying, yo, can you do my artwork for $10 and stuff like that? I'll give you great exposure. I have a lot of followers and all this kind of stuff. It's almost degrading to the artist, you know. It's like, I know with music and stuff like that, things like producers and stuff, they're not really, what am I trying to say? They don't get a lot of the credit that they deserve, you know. Like, it's great to see people like, say, Kenny Beats doing all these live streams and really bringing like producers to the forefront. It's kind of the same with designers, where they get forgotten some of the times, and their work can be underappreciated. And I feel like that's sometimes why people say, "Hey, can you do this for like $10?" You know, it's just, I don't like to see it. And one more thing, I suppose, is what I see a lot is like the likes of bands and stuff running these competitions where they say, "Oh, we want our fans to design our next band logo or merch design. Send in your designs now and we'll pick one and credit the original person and pay them and all that kind of crap." But like, you have a lot of kind of impressionable people creating all these designs for absolutely no... I know they're creating it out of passion and stuff like that, but there's a lot of people spending a lot of time and it just might go completely missed, you know. I just feel like sometimes bands and stuff kind of take advantage. But yeah, they're just my kind of pet peeves with the creative industry at the moment. But like, I don't dwell on it, you know. I just kind of
absolutely
get my...
No, I get you. So what advice would you give to someone who was looking even to start, say they had an interest and liked your work and wanted to kind of get started on doing something of their own? What advice would you give them?
Yeah. Like, the best advice I can give to anyone, and like I say it to absolutely everyone, just make stuff and post it, because you don't know who's going to see it or who's going to like it or where it's going to end up. You know, it could be the next best thing. Create out of like passion rather than necessity. Like, I've scrapped a lot of designs because I feel like I've just kind of thrown it together, you know. There's no love put into it. But as a person starting off, it might be daunting because you have no audience. You haven't kind of established yourself. Like, I still fully haven't established myself. I'm still working it out every day. But just, make a page, create stuff, post it, comment, like tag people in it, tag artists, tag fan accounts, use all the hashtags. Don't let anyone tell you don't use a lot of hashtags. Just use the hashtags. That's how you get stuff out there.
What they're there for.
Yeah, exactly. Just share, and I think it's important to also show support. So like, don't focus at all on your work. Support other creatives, you know, like share their stuff, obviously give credit, make friends in the community. There's a brilliant community out there and stuff. And like, I've had people come to me asking for tips on what to do with an art piece, and I've asked people for tips and stuff like that. You know, it's like a great resource, basically. Like, it's I don't even know what to say. It's brilliant, basically. But yeah, create, full stop, is what I'd put it down to if I had to summarize it.
Perfect. So what other styles do you see yourself experimenting with in the future?
I really want to get into more animation, but the laptop I'm working on now is dying. I've had it for about 5 years. I built it 5 years ago and it's just dying now. I cleaned the fans recently and it didn't make any difference. It takes me nearly 6 or 7 hours just to render like a small video, which is ridiculous. I have money saved up from jobs and stuff. I did a job, when was it? Like late last year, but there was problems with the record label, so I only got paid last month. So I'm putting that towards buying a new PC, basically. And once the new PC is there, I'm just going to experiment with everything. I want to get into 3D stuff as well, like 3D animation, but my laptop just can't run it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's...
Very last question, and this is kind of my own interest.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see a time where album covers will be digital images in that they will be moving?
Yes, I do think so. And it actually is a thing already. Oh God, I can't even think of what... I know there's a guy on Twitter who's doing it. But he basically... what this guy has done is he's just taken like say vinyls and stuff in his room, and he's made them like 3-dimensional. So you know the Flower Boy album cover,
Yeah.
where Tyler is like standing and there's like a field and there's a car in the background and stuff like that. What he did was he split them up into individual layers. So, and he has an app on his phone where he printed off like a little sticker and put it on the bottom of the vinyl. And when he holds his phone over it, like the album cover is moving, like the clouds are going across the screen. And like, I think that will be a really cool way of kind of making an album have more meaning in a way. Like one album in particular, Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino, he brought out like a limited edition vinyl at the time. I had to get it, and in that there's like a VR headset, like it's only a cardboard one but you put your phone in, and it kind of adds to the immersiveness of an album if you're kind of into that thing, you know, if you want like a deeper look at an album, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So very last questions, and apologies for all the last questions.
No problem at all. Yeah.
What Irish artists should people be watching? Should people be listening to? Should people be watching their design?
Oh, that is... Are we talking Irish creatives or Irish musicians or just in general?
Irish
anything?
Creatives, anything.
Okay. I'll actually put up my Instagram because I'm just going to shout out one or two, if that's okay.
Do, of course.
There is definitely a good few. There's one guy called, I don't know if you heard of him, Jacob Burrell is his name, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Jacob Burrell. He is from Mayo, and he started doing, I think he's studying digital design or something like that. But his stuff is incredible. Like he does all these real kind of simplistic things in Illustrator. I can send you all of these afterwards if you want. So there's Jacob Burrell. Who else is there? I don't know. Would you know Luke Fitzpatrick?
I wouldn't.
Fitz. Okay. You should follow Luke Fitz. He's actually living in England, but he's from Dublin. I think he's from Dublin. But Luke got in touch with me there sometime last year. We collabed on a project. It never saw the light of day, but I had such a great time doing it. And since then he's released his own clothing brand called the Road Beer Society. I would definitely look out for that. He's released like a few t-shirts already. Who else? My friend Dara Toomey. I don't know. Have you heard of Dara?
Yeah.
He has a YouTube channel called 3Me, and he posts all kind of funny sketch comedy. It basically kind of stems from our humor in college. We had a lot of fun in college, basically, and we made silly videos and stuff. And Dara's really developed his character from there. Oh, Jesus. A few vinyls fell off my shelf. And lastly, my friend Dylan Clifford's photography. Like basically just an amazing photographer. But yeah, they're my kind of shout outs in the community.
Perfect.
Good people out there.
Aaron, thank you very much. You're at Aaron F Design.
That's the one.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Cool. And your work is fantastic, and I really can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being here.